Time now for a new segment at KPRC 2 Plus that we're going to call What Got Me.
Yes.
Because we're going to talk about these headlines and stories that we report on and you say, you know what got me? And I'm going to have you go first, Zach. Tell us, what did you pick for this week?
Okay, so if you were watching the news at 5 o'clock this morning, I did a story on happiness hacks. Of course, they better be. So this was a story on happiness hacks, and it was about being happy in the workplace. And this one particular study found 62% of Americans are content with their jobs. One study found increased happiness at work was contributing to a jump in productivity by 12%, and people were 3 times more likely to be creative in those roles if they're happy. Yeah, so it goes hand in hand. The question is, though, how do you boost your state of happiness while on the job? So what got me was some of these happiness hacks that people are doing, making minor changes that could really turn a big result here, if you will. So they suggest try getting up, walking, biking, moving around throughout your day to increase higher levels of job satisfaction, which makes sense.
Shocking. Exercise makes you happy.
The health reporter weighing in here. So that was kind of no surprise, but interesting to see how people are fitting that into their day, whether that's...
Well, just more reason to incorporate the movement during your day.
Yeah, so ways you could do that, you know, it's not just getting a walking treadmill at your desk, but instead of sending an email, they're urging folks to get up and walk to the person that you want to talk to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's something that's really changed in the last few years is we used to talk to each other more, probably like pandemic kind of like pushed us to the other side. You know, people were starting to depend more on our technology, and not calling. Everybody likes to text over call. So even like the phone calls from desk to desk have stopped, and like people just send emails all the time.
Where do you fit in on that?
Well, I don't like to sit for too long, so I do get up and move around, and we don't have phones at our desks, you know, so I'd have to like call somebody's cell phone. So I do move around a lot.
That we don't.
I email when I have like a long list of things, like, hey, these are the 3 things that we need to
when you want to be
meet
specific,
about or something. Yeah, but and that person, you know, I might email you about that, and Zach sits right next to me in the newsroom, so I might, there are some. It just depends, I guess.
Yeah. I remember when I came here to KPRC 2, I remember, and you're right, I don't think it happens as often, and this was a time when people weren't, you know, being socially close with one another because of the pandemic. But I remember the producer pod in the newsroom. A producer on one side of the pod would pick up the phone and call the producer on the other side, and I'm like, wait, this is so bizarre. But it worked at the time, you know. So it
but we were all looking looking forward to moving past that time when we could talk to each other and be close to one another again. And then when it came back, like things didn't settle back the same way that they were before.
Okay, so that was one way you can increase job satisfaction or happiness in your life. Another was, I really liked this one, jazzing up your workspace, your desk. So one study found workers were 32% more productive when they decorated their workspaces. So we're talking about adding plants, artwork, pictures of family, friends to your personal area to really liven things up.
That's what I did. I have my little aloe plant because it's my little zen at my desk.
You have pictures.
I have pictures, and I have a candle that our old morning anchor Rachel McNeil gave me that has Britney Spears on it because we were big fans. So
she also has this really amazing. This is going to sound super creepy, but she has this really amazing. Well, it's amazing smelling hand sanitizer.
Oh, look at that! They zoomed in on my desk. Oh, if my husband's watching, he's mad that I have that cup. But wait, so the other side, pan to the other side, because that's Zach's weird desk where he has this whole wall of scripts. Every script that he's ever read at KPRC. I'm sorry, you were being so nice to me about my desk, and I'm criticizing yours. But you have that wall of scripts that everybody who comes by our desk says, why do you have all those?
You know, for the record, I'm not the only one in the newsroom that does that. Bill Spencer also has a big stack of scripts.
It's like digital world doesn't exist for you guys. Those things are saved
when you're going to need
in a cloud somewhere. I'm sure you can find it.
That is very true. The question for me is, though, how do you use that cloud?
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, no idea. Okay, I really like this next tip, and that was journaling. Do you journal?
I hate to admit that I don't journal.
Right.
Because that's like being the health reporter with mental health. Journaling is like the #1 thing that you're always supposed to do. It's supposed to, you know, just cleanse your brain, write things down, and I don't.
It is cathartic, and there is a point of it. But it's tough, though. You know, trying to fit that into your
busy... Just incorporate it into your day. Yeah, that's the hardest part.
I was talking with someone not too long ago, and they were saying instead of journaling, what they do is they just do bullet points. So they don't write necessarily long entries, but they do very specific words that can bring them back.
It might have been me telling you about that.
It might have been.
Yeah, we call it brain dumping, where
exactly,
you just throw words out on a page, and it doesn't have to make sense, and you don't have to write in complete sentences. But if you're like really fired up about something, just write words down and it'll help.
That's exactly who this is. This is who.
Oh, now that triggered your memory. You're like, yeah, it was you.
Okay, so I guess that's it for me. What got you?
Oh, my story actually came from one of your stories about should you look at your significant other's phone. Oh. So secrets are no fun. Do you ever search through a significant other's phone? If you don't want to answer, you don't have to.
No, I can. I do not. I respect that space, but I will say this.
Never done it?
This is what I was going to say. So I think with different relationships bring about... No, I'm going to answer that in a roundabout way.
Anthony says don't answer.
Anthony's listening.
For the safety of everyone.
No, there was a time. There was a time I did do this, and I will tell you, it was disastrous. I think it brought about a lot of negativity within that relationship, because I don't know where it came from. I will say that I do share my location with loved ones in my immediate circle, but there is no snooping, there is no sharing passcodes, and it's not that there's anything to hide, at least I have nothing to hide. It's that I think there's a level of invasion that's just not necessary, right?
Yeah, so I talked to Dr. Emily Jamia about this. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist, also a sex therapist. I use her for a lot of these types of stories. Oh my gosh, she's the best. We should get her on the show. Note to producers, we should get Emily Jamia on the show. She's really wonderful. And she says never go through the other person's phone. Never. And I found that interesting because I find that specialists a lot of times will never make such a bold statement. Right. There's always an exception to the rule. Never is what she says. She says everyone deserves that boundary, that privacy, even in intimate relationships. She says if you do have a question for the other one or you're suspicious of something, you can ask to see their phone, and if they consent, that's okay. Because there can be that level of trust where you can hand it over if the other person wants it. But yeah, don't go snooping. So she says it is okay to have secrets. You can have a text message with your best girlfriend and have a little bit of a secret that you wouldn't want your husband or your spouse or your significant other to know about. But it's when that crosses into a betrayal. You don't want to have betrayals, and that could be violating their trust by snooping through their phone. Yeah. Okay, Emily Jamia, I don't know if you're
come on the show.
But we'd like you to come on the show. All right, that was a good one. What's got me?